What's up, y'all? So I just want to talk about this today. Surviving the workplace as a Christian. You see, nowadays we have a lot of people, a lot of followers of Christ to where they work at different companies. And if you're a Christian, you probably work at, a 9 to 5 job like many people do, whether it's a hospital, a nursing home, a bank, supermarket, cashier, whichever type of job you're doing. So I just want to talk about this today. Surviving the workplace as a Christian. You have to understand that we're in a world where many people do not like God. We're in a world where many people hate Jesus and they hate Christianity. They hate followers of Christ. You see, a lot of people, they have demonic spirits inside of them. And what a lot of people need to understand is that demonic spirits are not just tied to regular people. Demonic spirits could be in your boss. Demonic spirits could be in your manager. Demonic spirits could be in your coworker. That's why you have to understand that being a Christian in the workplace, you could be facing a lot of battles along the way, especially when people at your job know that you're a Christian. Because a lot of times people like to test Christians, they like to test followers of Christ, because the demons in them hate the Jesus, they hate the light that's inside of you, they hate the Holy Spirit that's around you. So you have to understand that in the workplace, number one, not everybody's going to be your friend. You see, you have to understand this workplace, not everybody's going to be your friend. Your boss is not going to always be out for your best interests. People might smile on your face, but they might be plotting behind your back. People might smile on your face, but yet they secretly hate you. And you see, I've seen many people, especially a lot of Christians, get fired just for even talk about the Bible. You have to understand that in the workplace, a lot of these people, they're going to hate when you go and talk about the Bible. Again, we're not saying we're not supposed to talk about God or we're not supposed to talk about the Bible. But I'm just telling you, you could face an obstacle going against it. So that's number one. You got a lot of people going to hate you just because you talk about God and because you talk about the Bible. Number two, you're going to face temptation. You see, you're going to face a lot of people to where they're going to try and tempt you. I'll give you an example. You might be a man. You will follow Christ. You live in this lifestyle for God. You down for the Most High. You really living it. But guess what? Might have people in the workplace who are going to tempt you, because even I've been through this. You might have people going to offer you weed. They might offer you alcohol. They might say, hey, let's go out to a club tonight. Hey, let's go out to a strip club tonight. So and so is gonna be there. You might even have women who gonna try and tempt you. I remember one time when I first started at one of my jobs, there was a girl. She may have suggested to comment to me. She was talking about, cause I guess kind of my shirt a little bit open. I didn't realize, cause it was kind of hot, cause it was almost summertime. She told me I was making her hot. So you have to understand, you're gonna face a lot of temptation like that in the workplace. Same thing if you're a woman. You might be a woman there. You was grateful to God. You got the job. You're working to earn a little bit of money and all that. But you might face a lot of temptation. You might have women who might try to come to you and gossip. You might have people who to where they might try to get you involved in drama. You might have some of these guys, right? They might try to get at you as a woman. They might try to take you on a date. They might invite you out to their house, to their place. So you gotta understand, you gotta be careful of that stuff. Even other girls might try to invite you to a club. So you have to know how to resist temptation. This is where you see many Christians, they go into these workplaces, right? They go in good and solid in God. They many times they end up becoming lukewarm and then turning away from God due to the work environment that they're in. So that's what I just want to talk about. Number three, demonic managers and demonic bosses. Let me tell you something. In many of these workplaces, you got a lot of these bosses and these managers, right? To where many of them like to act like they're God. Many of them have this God complex to where they believe that they're God Almighty. Because I guess because they believe that they have the power to say who gets fired and who hired. They think they could just treat anybody, whoever they want, especially if it's a job that's non-union. They believe they could tell you whatever they want and you better accept it or else they're going to fire you. So you gotta understand, a lot of these bosses, they might try to get you mad on purpose. They might try to get you to say something slick to them so they can have an excuse to fire you. They might try to get you upset on purpose so you could try and cuss them out and try to get them, then so they could try and get you mad so that you can end up firing you. So you gotta understand, a lot of these bosses, they're gonna try and push your buttons. They're gonna try and push you to your limits. And you have to know how to self-control. Not saying that you have to stand there and take the abuse from your boss, but I'm just saying though, self-control. If you have to speak with your boss, try to do it in a professional manner. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, ma'am. Can we please work the situation out? Can we please go in a different route? So that me and you both feel respected. You deal with the situation in a professional manner. So, especially if you have a job that's union, they have no excuse to fire you. Because they can't say, oh, so-and-so disrespected you. Because no, you spoke to them in a respectful, professional manner. So that's number one. You got to know how to deal with these demonic bosses. Number four, If you work at a place, especially like a hospital, or, a place where you have a lot of customers or patients, like a cashier, you have to understand you're going to face a lot of customers or patients who have demons inside of them. They might end up being demon possessed. They might try to test you. You might have some patients, some employees where you might have some patients or customers. They might try to say something to you slick on purpose to try and get you upset because they believe that they're the customer, they're the patient, they're always right. And no matter what, they could say whatever they want, do whatever they want. You have to take it. And if you say something disrespect to them, they could go to your boss, go to HR, and get you fired. So you have to understand that a lot of customers, a lot of patients, they're gonna test you. They're gonna test your patience. They're gonna try and come at you. They're gonna try and get you to say something to them so they could go to HR, go to your manager, and try to get you fired. So this is where fruit of the spirit, like self-control, is gonna really need to come in hand. Even if you have to speak to a patient or a customer, always do it in a respectful manner. Because many of them, they try to use that advantage over you by saying, oh, I'm the customer, I'm always right. And if you say anything bad to me, I'm going to get you fired. So you just have to know how to deal with these people in a professional manner. Once again, similar to your boss, excuse me, sir, excuse me, ma'am, can we please work the situation out? You deal with them in a professional manner. Because the moment you say something that's disrespectful to them, they're going to try and get you fired. They're going to try and have you suspended or have your job at risk. So you just have to understand. But nevertheless, guys, these are really the main points of what's happening in these workplaces nowadays. Especially with the demonic bosses and demonic employees. I'm actually going to even add a fifth point to this. This is not directly surviving the workplace, but this is something that you should have along the way. If you're a Christian in the workplace, please do not just rely on that one job. Because many of these jobs are laying people off, and many of these bosses, especially if it's a non-union job, they just waiting for an excuse to fire somebody. So always have something on the side. Always have your credentials. If you're a person, if you're a young person or old person, whatever, please, if you have, take the money, go use resources like Fast or Tap and go to school. Don't just rely on that one job for life. Because you see a lot of people nowadays, especially a lot of people from the older generation I'm going to speak about, they rely on just one job and they'll sit at that job for years while going back to school. And then a lot of times they'll end up getting fired or laid off and they end up crying because they have no alternatives. Because they never went back to school, they never upgraded themselves. So now they're basically left with nothing. Because there's not much jobs there's not much high paying jobs you could get with a high school diploma. So often are left with nothing, a lot of them cry, a lot of them end up crashing out, a lot of them end up becoming depressed. But guess what? This time that you have in the workplace, use this job as a part-time job and go back to school. Even if you don't want to do your master's or PhD, at least go and get your bachelor's. Because there's so many programs like FAFSA and TAP to where you could go to school and not even have to pay much or not even have to pay nothing at all. I mean, when I was in college, based on my income, on my mom's income, I never had to even pay for college. I never had to repay for my bachelor's. I even got back money. Because, for example, Fast and Tap will give me $5,000 for one semester, right? And all my classes end up being $3,500, and I get to keep the extra $1,500. So use those resources because you might even get money back. Always upgrade yourself. Don't let your bosses have nothing over you. Cause all these bosses, may I tell you something, some of these bosses, some of them are sick. They'll know you have no credentials. They'll know you have no bachelor's or no nothing to back you up in life. And they know they can fire you any minute because they know that the moment they fire you, you'll be left with nothing because you have no credentials. Not much jobs will want to take you. So they think that you're just going to sit there and take their abuse. No, always upgrade yourself. Go back to school, stay in school, complete your bachelor's, get a certificate, and of course, like I've told you guys in many other videos, have a side hustle. Even if you don't want to be a full-time entrepreneur, like me and many other people want to be, at least have a side hustle that's making you money. Even if you're in school, at least have a side hustle. Whether that's Uber, Lyft, you want to start your own online business. You want to start an e-commerce clothing store. Do your own website. Do a YouTube channel. Promote, whatever business you want to do. There's so many ways you can make money nowadays. You can start a business off almost anything nowadays. And an online business you can start for free. It's not like an in-person business where you got to take out a loan, buy the stuff and spend all this money. You could do online businesses. Online businesses was running the market for many people. Some people are making 6 and 7 and 8 figures off of online businesses. Don't underestimate the power of online businesses. They can make even make more money than in-person businesses. A lot of businesses are becoming online now because a lot of people are not really shopping in stores like that. A lot of people buying stuff, especially stuff like clothing, online now. So they ain't gotta leave their house. They just buy it online from places like Amazon and Etsy, TikTok Shop, and all these different places. So, don't be bound. Don't let these jobs have you bound. Don't let these managers just think they have one foot over you. No, always have something going on. Have your own business. Have something aside that make you money. So, God forbid a job lets you go. You could at least earn money on the side while you're looking for another job, or at that moment you could branch off into being a full-time entrepreneur. But nevertheless, don't let these jobs have anything over you. 'Cause a lot of them are sick like that. Your boss, your manager will know, oh, this person's not in school. Oh, they have no bachelor's, they have no master's, they have no PhD. Oh, they have nothing. Oh, they need this job to make it in life. Oh, I could do whatever I want. I could speak to them however I want. I could talk to them however I want, and they're going to sit there and take it. I could say whatever I want to them, and they're going to sit there and take it. No, don't let nobody have that power over you because they're not your God. You serve a one living God. You serve the Most High God. You serve the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. You don't serve man. You don't have to bow down to nobody. You bow down to God Almighty Himself. That's who you bow down to. You don't bow down to no boss. You don't bow down to no employee. You ain't bow down to nobody. You only bow down to God Himself. Don't let nobody have no one leg over you. Because at the end of the day, God's the one in charge. Even if a person lets you go, God can always provide another opportunity for you. But of course, like we always say, faith without works is dead. We got faith in God, but we got to put the works in. And that works is, going back to school, having your credentials. So you can always, be available for other jobs to take you. Because when you got your credentials, like a bachelor's, a master's, or a PhD, you will always, there'll always be a job that's willing to take you. Because you got your credentials. When you got your own stuff, like a business on the side or whatever, if you lose one job, guess what? You got other business that's going to make you money. That's going to supply your needs while you look for another job where you could go straight into being a full-time entrepreneur right there and then. So don't let nobody have no one leg over you. Don't let some of these, because some of these companies, they sick. They like to just try and abuse people. Some of these bosses like to talk to people any type of way. Because they know the employee's going to sit there and take it because they need that job to survive. Because, somebody probably a single mother, a single father, they probably can't go back to school. They probably not thinking about running their own business, doing their own online business. So they just looking to survive. So some people will sit there and take their abuse because they want to keep their job. You ain't got to deal with all that. You a human being. God created you with feelings and emotions. You have a soul that God created. You're not just supposed to sit there and somebody just physically abuse you. I made a video about this, just a few days ago. Don't tolerate disrespect. Don't let somebody just sit there and disrespect you. Don't just sit there and take that. You're somebody special to God. You were created by God for a purpose, for a reason. Don't just let somebody just sit there and just abuse you like that. But you see, when many people, man, I see a lot of Christians, they just sit there. And you know what the funny thing is? Jesus, he left his 9 to 5. Jesus, he used to have a 9 to 5 job just like us. He was a carpenter. Guess what? When Jesus started his mission for the kingdom of heaven when he was 30, he left his 9 to 5 job behind. He left it behind. He left it behind and he started serving the kingdom of heaven. And a lot of people like to talk about they following after God and they walk in Jesus' footsteps, but your action shows. Are you really following in Jesus' footsteps? Because if you are, you will not just be sitting down in a job. Many of you guys have dreams, you have goals. Don't just sit there working at 9 to 5 your whole life while you're not working your dreams and goals. No. Work on your dreams and goals. Work on yourself as a person. Don't just give your all to these jobs and yet when it comes to your personal goals, you're not giving no time to. Some people even give more time to their job than they give time for God. Like, explain how that makes sense. You basically making your job your idol God at that point. Some people, they do all this overtime. They do overtime today. They do it tomorrow. They working. Some people not even working 9 to 5. They do so much overtime. They basically coming into work at 6 a.m. and leaving at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. And me, I've seen people do this, to be honest. I've seen people to where they came into work at 6 a.m. They left at 8 p.m. And they doing it often. Because they want to do overtime. They want to make all this money. Yeah, you're making all that money, but look at what this toll is going to take. Number one, you're going to be physically drained. You're going to put more wear and tear on your body. By the time when you get up in age, all that pain is going to come back to you. All that overtime, you're going to start to feel it. I've seen people to where they do so much overtime that when they hit their 40s and 50s, they can't even walk properly. They limping back and forth. Because their body is starting, all that overtime is starting to catch up on them. And think about many of these jobs, you give your all to them. And guess what? In the end, many times they'll end up screwing you. I've seen jobs to where a person was there for 20, 30, and 40 years. They came in snow. They came in the pandemic. They came during COVID. They gave this job their all. And in the end, some of these jobs ended up firing them because they were old and useless and they could barely walk anymore. They could barely keep up. And they don't even want to give them their retirement pension no more. And they want to go give that job to someone who's more young and fresh because they have no use for the older person no more. All these jobs, they crazy like that. They corrupt like that. They wicked like that. That's why you're supposed to give your all to God. Give your all to your dreams and goals, to your own business. You know, you could do a business for a Most High God. You could do something great. Don't just give your all to these jobs and end up physically wearing you out there, and you having nothing left, and end up just firing you or letting you go because you not have no value no more. Don't nobody treat you like that. You valuable to God. People be doing all this overtime, but yet they're not even giving their all to God. You're not even giving your all to your dreams and goals. No, don't be that type of person. You got so many people, they work these jobs for 45, 50 years. They want to give their all to these jobs. I remember during the pandemic, there was a woman to where she came into her cashier job. No one wanted to come in during COVID. She came in during COVID. She was coming in during the pandemic. She ended up catching COVID, and she ended up dying. And guess what her last paycheck was? I believe her last paycheck was $20. I believe this is a story from, I believe Maryland, one of those states down there, like Maryland or something like that. But you see, gave her all for that job, but look how they treated her in the end. $20, and yet she was risking her life coming in. Don't nobody abuse you like that. Like I said, guys, take these points. Take these points serious. This how you survive the workplace as a Christian. This is how you deal with demonic bosses and demonic coworkers and demonic employees, and also dealing with demonic customers and patients. But nevertheless, guys, take these points serious and use these points. If you're a person, especially if you're a young person coming up and you're a Christian, you're getting ready to go into a workplace, take these points serious. Always be working on yourself. Avoid drama. Avoid nonsense in the workplace. Avoid people going to gossip with you. Avoid people going to bring drama your way. Avoid and stay away from all of that. Go to work, do your job, go home. I'm not saying you can't talk with your boss. Not saying when an employee makes a joke, they come making jokes and you can't laugh at certain jokes. I'm not saying you gotta just be serious 100%. You're still a human being. You gotta have small talk and all that. But stay focused on what's important. Coming to work, making money so you could pay your bills, so you could put food on your table for your family. So you could have some money in your pockets, and going home. And when you go home, work on yourself. Because a 9 to 5 is nice, but what about what are you doing from a 5 to 9? What about from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. the next day? What are you doing? Are you working on yourself? Are you doing something for yourself inside? Are you doing something for God? Like, you gotta have something going on. Don't just do something for these jobs, for these companies, and yet you ain't got nothing going on in your personal life. You're not doing nothing to improve your personal life. You're not doing nothing to improve your relationship with God. No. Do stuff as well. You gotta be spiritually elevating too. You gotta be elevating yourself as a person, elevate your relationship with God. But nevertheless, guys, take these points serious. Have a blessed day. Take care.